There are days when you don't want to talk to anyone. You just sit there quietly, staring at the floor, or looking out the window, as if your mind is somewhere far away. And the strange thing is, most people around you don't notice. You still reply to messages. You still say, "I'm fine." You still try to act normal. But then, your dog comes closer. Not loudly, not demanding anything. It simply lies down beside you, resting its head on your leg, or looking at you for a long time, as if it knows something isn't right. And maybe you've always thought it was just a coincidence, that it simply wanted affection, or maybe it just enjoys being near you. But what's truly remarkable is this. Many scientific studies suggest that dogs can genuinely sense human emotions, not only through your voice, but also through your scent, your breathing, the tension in your movements, and even subtle changes in your emotional state. Which means, even when you don't say a word, your body is still speaking, and your dog is listening to all of it. That's why, when you're feeling down, your dog often becomes quieter. It follows you more, stays closer to you, lies beside you more often, as if it's trying to say, "I'm here." And perhaps the most touching part is, it doesn't need to understand why you're hurting. It only needs to know that you're not okay. And that's enough for it to stay by your side. If you've ever experienced something like this, remember that moment. Because sometimes, a dog understands your emotions better than people do. And that's only the first thing that has amazed scientists. Because dogs don't just sense your emotions. They constantly watch you far more closely than you might imagine. Think about it. There are moments when you haven't said a single word. You haven't cried. You haven't sighed. And yet, your dog has already started behaving differently. It watches you more, follows you more, or quietly sits nearby, as if waiting for something. That's because dogs don't read emotions the way humans do. Humans listen to words. Dogs read bodies. They pay attention to the way you walk, the speed of your movements, the sound of your voice, your breathing patterns, and even the smallest changes in your facial expressions. In fact, some studies have shown that dogs can detect stress hormones through human scent alone, which means even when you're trying your best to appear okay, your body may still be sending signals, and your dog has already noticed them. That's why, on days when you're exhausted, your dog may suddenly become gentler, less playful, less demanding, more interested in simply staying close to you, as if it somehow knows that today isn't a normal day. And perhaps the most incredible part is, nobody taught it to do that. Nobody trained it to comfort you. It simply senses something and reacts instinctively. An instinct shaped by a bond that has connected dogs and humans for thousands of years. And maybe many people never realize that their dog has been quietly watching over their emotions every single day. If your dog has ever come closer when you were sad, lain beside you when you were silent, or looked at you as if it understood something deeper, leave a 1 in the comments below, because that could mean that a very special emotional connection exists between you and your dog. And to understand why that connection feels so powerful, we have to go back much further, before modern homes, before dog collars, before dogs became pets, back to where it all began, in the wild. Emotions weren't just emotions. They were a matter of survival, because in a pack, if one member panicked, the rest of the group needed to know immediately. If one animal was injured, the others had to recognize it. If danger was nearby, every member needed to sense the change. That's why animals that live in groups develop an incredibly strong ability to read one another. And dogs are among the very best at it. But here's what makes dogs unique. After thousands of years of living alongside humans, they began using that same ability on us. They learned to read human emotions, the same way their ancestors once read the emotions of their pack. That's why many dogs become alert the moment their owner is stressed, or immediately come closer when they sense sadness. Not because they fully understand your problems, but because their brain is telling them, this person isn't okay. This person needs company. And in a dog's world, staying close is one of the strongest forms of support. That's why when you cry, your dog doesn't try to give advice. It doesn't try to fix your feelings. It simply stays there, quietly, patiently, as if its presence alone is enough. And sometimes that's exactly what we need. Not someone who talks too much, not someone who tries to solve everything, but simply a presence that refuses to leave. Maybe that's why so many people feel calmer when they hold their dog during difficult moments, because in that moment, they no longer feel completely alone. And what's truly remarkable is, dogs don't do this out of obligation. Nobody forces them to care about human emotions, yet they still do, naturally, quietly, and sincerely. But what makes this even more fascinating is that emotional connection isn't just a feeling, it's biology. And maybe that's something many people have never realized. When your dog comes closer while you're sad, it isn't simply staying near you. In its world, it's trying to do something. It's trying to protect you. That may sound strange, because most of us think dogs only protect people from physical danger, strangers, loud noises, or threats from the outside world. But to a dog, emotional distress can also feel like a kind of danger. And when it senses that, its instincts immediately begin to change. That's why many dogs become quieter. When their owners cry, they stop playing. They stop running around. Instead, they stay close, watching you, keeping an eye on you, as if they somehow know this isn't the time for games. Some dogs will even place themselves between you and another person. When they sense you're stressed, others will keep touching you, as if checking to make sure you're okay. And what's remarkable is, nobody taught them to do this. There is no training course for it, no command they were told to follow. They simply respond to the deep bond they have with you, because in your dog's mind, you are not just the person who feeds it. You are its person, the one it wants to protect, the one it doesn't want to see hurt. And maybe that's why so many people find it easier to cry when holding their dog, because in that moment, they feel safe, they feel supported, they feel like someone truly doesn't want them to suffer, even if that someone cannot say a single word. And honestly, in a world where many people stay close only during the good times, a creature that quietly remains by your side, even on your worst days, is something truly special. But after everything we've discussed, the most profound truth isn't that your dog understands your sadness. It's that it chooses to stay beside you, even when you're not okay. And perhaps that's what makes a dog's love so extraordinary. Because many relationships in life change when we change. When you're happy, people want to be around you. When you're strong, people admire you. But during your hardest days, your quietest days, the days when you no longer have the energy to pretend you're okay, very few people truly stay. But your dog does. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't demand explanations. It doesn't expect you to become better immediately. It simply lies beside you, as if saying, I don't care which version of you shows up today. I'm still here. And perhaps that's the most beautiful part. Your dog doesn't stay because it has to. It doesn't stay because you're perfect. It doesn't stay because you're always cheerful. It stays because it loves you in its own way, quietly, but sincerely. Maybe that's why so many people consider their dog family, not because dogs can speak, but because sometimes they understand our emotions better than we expect. So, if one day your dog comes closer when you're sad, lies beside you when you're silent, or simply refuses to leave your side, remember this. Maybe it doesn't know exactly what's happening, but it knows that you're hurting. And to your dog, that's all it needs to know: to stay, to comfort you, to be there for you. If you've ever experienced something like that, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because sometimes the things that heal us the most come from those who cannot speak at all. And now, I'd really love to hear from you. What was the moment that made you feel your dog truly understood your emotions? Share your story in the comments below. And maybe that's the beautiful thing about dogs. They don't need to understand every detail of your life. They don't need explanations. They don't need words. Sometimes, all they need to know is that you're hurting. And somehow, that's enough for them to stay. Through the silence, through the sadness, through the days when you don't feel like yourself, they stay. Not because they have to, but because they choose to. And perhaps that's one of the purest forms of love we'll ever experience.